Welcome to She Chose Joy with Melanie, where we discuss all things love, freedom, wellness, and joy. I'm your host, Melanie Foote Davis, also known as the Soul Whisperer. If you've ever been curious about what it would be like to disrupt your life and your regular routine and toss all of your plans to the side to see what happens, then you're really going to appreciate this episode because my friend Tammy Chapek did just that. She and her dog Lula packed their lives in a storage unit and ventured off on a road trip of discovery. Yummy, right? Check it out. Welcome to She Chose Joy with Melanie. I am super thrilled about having you here today, Tammy. So I'm totally grateful that you said yes. And I'm excited about the conversation. Because I know one of the things we're going to be talking about is, some adventures that you've been, and a little exploration that you've been taking. And a fun fact about me, which we'll see if it comes up later, is that what you did is something that I've played in my head over and over. Excited to actually get to talk to you and see about, what all you've learned.
Yeah, well, maybe it'll spark a kickoff for you.
Yeah. How's the weather where you are today?
It's actually really hot.
Really hot? Oh,
okay. You got to love some air conditioning, but how about you?
Yeah, you know what? I haven't been out yet, but based on the way it was feeling in here, I was grateful for the air conditioner as well. And, I'm a woman and I'm going through that phase. So I'm starting to get personal summers. And so being able to do this.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Personal summers. I'm going to hold on to that one.
Personal summers are something fierce, let me tell you. Yeah, what are you excited about these days?
Oh, honestly, everything. I'm in a whole new place in my personal life and my professional life. I know what we're going to talk about my trip, but it just changed a lot for me. So I'm super excited. I just moved to Columbus, Ohio, which I actually grew up in the area, but I moved away 16 years ago. And one of the reasons I came back was all my family's here. And I was definitely feeling a bit of that longing, to be closer to home. So my physicality is new and exciting. I'm literally in the process of unpacking as we speak. So there's boxes everywhere. And I think, from a coaching and my ability to contribute to leadership, this just grows my world a little bit more too. I've been in Chicago for such a long time, and obviously Chicago is gigantic and there's so many people there. But I get to meet more people now in a different place. And I'm real excited about that too.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I visit home a lot. I'm in Chicago, but I'm originally from Maryland. And it's always an adventure when I go home. But in this season, I can't imagine moving back there just yet.
Yeah.
I feel like some other would need to be in place. And so I think it's pretty cool that you have gone back to your roots, but you're back there as a different person than you were when you left, right?
Yeah. When I left 16 years ago, I was working in advertising. I was just on this career track to take over the world. And I moved to New York City from Columbus because I wanted to have a big experience, and I sure did.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know you used to live in New York too.
Yeah.
So you love been drawn to big cities, huh?
Yeah. Which is also funny because I grew up in a teeny town in Ohio, just north of Columbus. But I lived in New York, and then I moved to Southern California. And then I moved to Chicago. I've been there for 12
Uh,
years. Yeah.
okay.
Prior to literally Monday.
Yeah. It's funny because you don't even realize how many things you've collected until you need to pack
Oh,
it up in.
yeah. As I'm
Right.
unpacking, I'm like, what is this? Why did I keep this? I need this.
Yeah. I didn't know we had that in common because I grew up in a small town too, in Maryland. It's a small town.
Yeah, yeah.
One
It
place
was,
where, you could keep your doors unlocked during the
mhm.
day and things
Yeah, and
like.
it's funny because I remember as a young person being really intimidated by cities and by bigger groups. My high school was tiny. The college I went to was also pretty small. And then I moved to Columbus and I just got this like, I don't know, this big itch for some like experience the world, go try it. And I moved to New York City after only visiting for one weekend.
Wow.
And had in hindsight, looking back on that, I felt I might have been a little bit brave or crazy doing it, but yeah, I totally got the city bug in me for sure.
I love that. I love that you had that inspiration and that you took a chance on it. Like you leaned into it.
Yeah, I was in my late 20s and I had this thought of, well, I'm either gonna move now somewhere else or I'm gonna be
Mhm.
here probably my whole life. I could just, envision that path of buying a home and, settling down and doing the whatever. And I just wanted more. I was ready to shake it up and see what happens.
Yeah, that was me. Like I felt like I was a small town girl with big city, like big world dreams in a sense.
Mhm.
And I never like being there as much as I love going back now. And I appreciate things now that I didn't appreciate back then.
Yeah.
I thought it was just so boring back there. Um, yeah, and I didn't feel inspired by a lot there. Not that, like, to be honest, I just didn't feel inspired by a lot there. And excuse me, I need to adjust my glasses. They are dirty and something else is happening. So I can't see you. Um, and and so I just feel like I always had these
Mhm.
audacious dreams that didn't fit into that world. I don't know how else to explain it.
I totally understand. I can
Mhm.
relate very much. There was a period where I felt like I was just trying to get out. So I didn't know where to, but in high school to get to college, college to get to career, whatever that was. Like felt like I was on this path of having to prove myself and test everything and try new things. And yeah, it certainly has led me down a very interesting path for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. I graduated on a Wednesday, and by Friday, I had moved to go try to find something, anything.
Amazing.
Right?
Wow. Took me
It's
a little
like
bit longer to ease into it, but
I needed to. It was
love
just
it.
weird.
Yeah.
Which is I think this is actually a good way to segue into what we were talking about you taking an
Mhm.
adventure. And so who knew that you grew up in a small town and then you moved to New York City of all places?
Yeah.
Um, and but you just recently launched on another adventure. So let's dive in.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I found at various points in my life that I've not questioned, but wanted to kind of reconnect with this next version of myself. And I feel like as human beings, and especially as women, we grow and we develop, and then we have different needs and different wants, and things just kind of shift. And I was getting to that place, and then COVID happened. And that shook me up in a totally different way. And once things started lightening up, I just got to this, I just felt a really strong need to reconnect with myself. So I sold my condo and packed my life into a storage unit, put
Mhm.
my dog in a couple suitcases in my car, and off we went.
Wow. So wait, so let's think about that for a minute. So you were having this urge, this yearning, if you will. Um, how like was that something you easily leaned into and said now is the time? Or was that, something you like this tug and pull for a minute? Like what
Yeah.
was that experience for you to make that decision? Because
Yeah,
that's
it was interesting because I think in my life I've followed opportunity.
mm,
Um, like going to New York, I had a boss who moved there and kind of recruited me along with him. There was always these like big open doors that
Mhm.
have happened. And I've just kind of taken advantage of them and walked through. And I was definitely in a place of wanting to at least experience something different, whether it was just moving to a different area in Chicago or something along those lines before COVID happened. Actually, I was thinking about doing it in 2018.
Okay.
And that winter, my neighbor turned her heat off and her pipes froze and flooded my apartment.
Wow.
Um, and so I basically had to I got renovate my entire apartment. So I couldn't move then. And then I've got everything finished. I moved in at the end of December of 2019. We know what happened at the beginning of 2020.
Mhm.
So I was being held there for a reason. There was a some reason I needed to be there longer. And so that feeling just kept growing and growing in me. And I think, COVID was hard on everybody, and it was hard for me as a single person staying in my condo, not seeing people or not connecting in the same ways. And that just opened that need up even more, like even bigger. I need to connect with people. I need to connect with my life, whatever that looks like. Then for those who live in well, I think it was everywhere in the US, at least at that time. And last summer, so 2021, the real estate market was hot, like really, really, really hot. I had a friend who sold her place and got, 100,000 over asking,
Mhm.
paid in cash. It was just crazy market. So I decided to take advantage of that. And maybe that would be if it sold, great. It was kind of my attitude. If it doesn't, that's okay. I'm happy where I'm at.
Mhm.
And it sold. And it kind of kicked it off for me, give me the opportunity that I wouldn't have had otherwise without having rent or a mortgage, just to say, let's just go.
Wow. So it's kind of, in some ways, it was like, let me just put it out there. I'll put this on the market.
Yeah.
If it sells, then I'm moving. I'm
Yes.
taking this leap. And if it doesn't, did you have a backup to that?
Well,
Or
no, I just thought I would stay and see what happened. Maybe
okay.
that was a little bit of the universe telling me I was not ready to go yet, but it
Okay.
happened.
So okay, so this is cool. So you sold your place and then you went on this adventure. How long were you actually um because I know you just recently moved. So what's that span of time between when you sold your place and you hit the road to take this adventure with you and your dog? What's your dog's name?
My dog's name is Lula.
Lula. When you and Lula hit the roads.
Uh, I was on the road. I left Chicago in late January. So it was the 21st of January. I got back to Chicago on June 3rd, but I was still bouncing around between houses and places and visiting people, and still kind of figuring out, do I want to be here? Do I want to be there? Where do I want to be? So I moved in officially August 1st. So I was on the road for 7 months, give or take.
Uh, wow. Yeah, because I reached out to you around that time and you were saying, actually, I'm getting ready to explore. And I
Everything's
was
changing.
like, you probably couldn't tell that through the text message, but in my mind, I was like, she's doing what?
It's amazing to me how many people express that enthusiasm. Um, and I totally took it for granted at first, to say, what a great opportunity for me to get out and try something new. But I think everybody that has commented, at least, has had a little bit of that yearning to go and explore and discover. And the realities of life don't always make that possible from a timing or finances perspective or whatever. I mean, maybe it's a little bit easier now post. I know we're still in COVID, but I'll say post COVID, where people have realized that remote work is possible. But yeah, I took advantage of it without realizing how big of an opportunity it was.
Yeah, it was a huge opportunity. So thank you for letting me live vicariously through you for a few months, right?
Pleasure.
And so like on this journey, like what were some of like what surprised you most about this journey?
One of the things I was the most afraid of stepping into it was driving long road trips by myself, but more so just being by myself. I feel like I had a little PTSD from COVID isolation, and I was afraid that I would get really lonely and sad, or that it would just kind of set me back versus helping me move forward. So I was really surprised that that didn't happen. And the trip was great because it was a good blend of seeing friends and people that I love, and time with myself. And that was just the right balance for me. And I actually really, really enjoyed the time with myself, even in the car, driving from point A to point B. I really loved the ability just to kind of be, and kind of revisit in my soul, what does Tammy want versus how can I please everybody else around me, which is, a thing I work on.
Yeah, this is good because you're typically like a type A planner kind of thing, right? And this is one of those be present with the moment.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, Melanie, that was probably one of the biggest lessons I learned because I'm such a type A planner, historically have been. I didn't really have a master plan going into this, and that was a little intimidating, but I kind of loved it. It gave me, I had a couple places in mind of where I would want to stop along the way, kind of loosely mapped things out, but I didn't have dates. I didn't, kind of know if I was going to do that or mix it up at all. And it was really freeing to be able to just go and decide, I think I'm done here. Book a reservation at an Airbnb or a hotel there and leave tomorrow. Just do it.
Oh, that's so yummy to me. Like seriously, like I am like feeling tingles inside because it just feels, it's not only sounds freeing, but if I'm experiencing as freeing too. Like so liberating to just be able to decide. I'll decide when I get there. Oh, you know what? I'm done here for now.
Yeah, it was, nothing I've ever experienced before because I've always gone into it with a goal, with a plan, like I'm going to be here for 4 days and then I'm going to move here and I'm going to do this. And it was not me, but it was a really interesting new part of me that I think I'm working on trying to incorporate more into everyday life. And, it's actually been the past couple months, even as I've been balancing time back in Chicago and kind of jumping around a little bit, it's been really nice to just kind of play it by ear and see what happens.
And so what have you found to be like the biggest gift in that, or the biggest lesson there?
I think, the biggest lesson around the planner and me, I think I have fear around if I don't have a plan, then I won't do anything, or it'll be wasted time, or I will miss an opportunity to spend time with a loved one. So I think that was a big driver, and realizing that maybe I don't have to have a plan and that I'll still get the ability to be productive, to spend time with people that I love, to have time for myself, which is also another big learning. Like I need community around me. And community is not just friends and family, it's also community with myself. And reconnecting with what I physically and spiritually and emotionally need in given moments.
That was juicy right there. That community is also being with myself.
And I was really good pre-COVID. Everything's a mile marker for now for me on that March date, but very, very good at filling my calendar, very, very good at being social, very good at making, carving out time to visit family and, phone calls with my sister every Sunday morning. But I was not very good. In fact, didn't enjoy me time. But I'm definitely an extrovert. I get my energy from people, and I just kind of fed off of that and didn't really give myself the opportunity to find energy within either.
Yeah. And I'm the opposite. Like I am not, some people think I'm an extrovert because I talk a lot. Like I'm quite but I absolutely have to have my quiet time, my alone time to like fill me up in order for me to be fully available. To all that other energy that comes in, because I absorb a lot of it. And so I absolutely, like, not only do I enjoy it, but I require it in order for me to stay in stay connected to the best of me, if that
It's
makes
good
sense.
to know that too. And I wish I had a statistic that would quote how many people know where their energy comes from, but it's so good to know it and honor it. And I think I was so just far on the side of people, fill
Right.
me up, that I was missing out on opportunities and feeling like I was lazy if I was staying home and reading a book or watching TV or, making myself dinner. Because that wasn't like, socializing and being productive and, getting my fill. I've learned that actually does give me my fill too.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if you were to say that you had, say, three biggest lessons you've learned from this adventure, what would those be?
Yeah, I think we've hit on two of them really well. The first is the planner in me. It doesn't always need to be so type A. Um, the second is the community aspect in regards to I really learned that there's a balance in the middle of that, right? Like I love being around people and I love filling my time with people and even my job, contributing to listen to and be part of other people's lives. It's a huge part of who I am, but I have to honor that there's community within
Mhm.
as well. The last lesson I feel that I really took from this um, is probably a very obvious one, but living in cities for such a long time, I think I missed the connection to nature. And sure, I could go to the lake or I could go to the park, but like really being in nature. And one thing I was really able to do on this trip is find time for that, especially on the me parts, where I was solo. I got to go hiking in White Sands National Park, and I went to Carlsbad Taverns in New Mexico, or caverns, excuse me, not taverns, caverns in New Mexico, and just got to really explore some really beautiful parts of the earth. I realized that the United States is way prettier than I ever imagined. But I had such joy in being outside and being able to really, commune with nature as well. So that's a huge priority for me at this point, is to be able to spend as much time outside as I can to be able to make sure that I'm still getting those, the earth connections too.
Wow. Yeah, like White Sands, that's in New Mexico also,
It
isn't it?
is. It
Yeah,
is
I saw an
gorgeous.
image of it maybe 6 or 7 months ago, which was my first introduction to it, and it looks so
It's
beautiful.
amazing. And it's funny, there's
Yeah.
all these signs all over the park because it's white sand dunes and everything looks the same. So they have these posts to guide you on the hike so that you don't get lost. Because you
Wow.
turn around, just white around you. It was really crazy and just an amazing experience. It was just very fine, really delicate pieces of sand. I don't know how to describe it. It was
Wow.
gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. It's so when you were talking about nature, I'm starting to realize too um that I actually can feel more grounded with nature than I ever
Mm,
imagined, right? Like even I think you and I had talked about it before, like grounding, the whole concept of
yeah.
grounding, you place your feet in the earth.
Yep.
And a fun fact about me is I don't really like my feet touching things. I don't really like my feet touching things other than like on the beach. I'm fine with my feet in the sand, but you don't typically see me walk barefoot in the grass
Yeah.
or even around the house. And I always have to have something on my feet, socks or something. And so that was really a new experience for me to practice grounding where I actually place my feet in the earth and experience it that way. And I do feel real connected to it. And even going hiking and all
Yeah.
of the things. Um,
There's a lot they say around an energy. And we as humans have energy. Everything is made of energy, right? And so
yeah,
when we walk around in our shoes with rubber soles or drive our cars with rubber tires or walk
mhm,
on cement, we're disconnected from the energy of the earth. And
yeah,
so when you can touch things, touch trees, touch grass, whatever it is, there's
yeah,
something about that, especially if you really pay attention, it can shift things big time.
yeah. They're actually tree huggers in the world. Like there are people who
Literally.
literally hug trees
Yeah.
and find great joy and power in connecting with trees in that way.
Yeah.
Um, which yeah, I've learned that I liked I like finding a nearby tree branch and sitting on it, or things that I didn't realize how much that really meant to me. But I'm learning, because it's like, if I'm out and I have this yearning to like go sit over there, to just trust it. And it can be those slightest things that
Yeah.
that makes the difference.
Yeah. I love that.
And you know what else I was just thinking about too, when you were talking about how, with our shoes, we're not really connected to the earth because we have rubber soles and all of these other things, is even, we think about the pandemic and how we were separated from each other, but over a period of time, we lost our connection with each other also with, say, attached garages. So there may have been a time when you pulled up and you waved to your neighbors, or you talked to them outside for a minute before you go in.
Mhm.
But then we went through, you pull into your garage and you go into your place and no one sees you get in or out of your car.
Yeah.
Like, it's so many different ways that we've not only disconnected from earth, in nature, but from each other in
Totally.
ways that weren't necessarily intended.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I'm gonna just share a story. This is connected, I promise. But
Okay.
back before air conditioning, there was a lot of people just felt more connected and more in community with each other because they would sit outside, on your front porch to stay cool in the summertime. And so with the invention of air conditioning, it really changed what community means and how people connect with their neighbors. And so what you're saying is almost identical, right? In that the fact that you would have this outdoor time to be both in nature, but also to connect with people, and then that goes away, and
Mhm.
you're just closing those windows even more.
Yeah. And now things so automated, you don't even talk to a live person
Yeah.
to solve a challenge or things like that. It's a whole process just to get to an actual human being.
Yeah.
Um,
Believe me, I've been setting up new accounts for my apartment and having to call customer service and
Yeah. Yeah,
be
like
like,
I'm
"What
in a
do
whole
I do?"
situation right now with Facebook and Instagram, because someone hacked my account and I have absolutely no access and no way to connect to find anybody to correct it. I just
No.
keep getting automated responses, and yeah, and it tells me that it cannot be reversed. And so I'm in this space where it's like, okay, I was angry
Yeah.
initially, and I stepped away from it and I said, I'm just going to pray and meditate about this. And
Mhm.
so now I still haven't made a decision just yet, but it's like, maybe this is a way for me to just start fresh. I'm in a place of new beginnings anyway,
Yeah.
and maybe it's just starting completely over. Um, but before I was attached to, but that's my name on that account, and that's, I can't use my own name. So
Yeah.
anyway, I veered away from the conversation, but
Well, but
it's still about that, the fact that we aren't able to connect with
mhm.
humans to really be able to move the needle forward.
Yeah. I also think, and it was similar but different topic, right? But the fact that you were able to A, acknowledge the anger, and then B, find a way to look at it as an opportunity is such an amazing thing, right? Like, we're going to go through our lives, no matter what, we're going to have emotions, some
Yeah,
positive, some negative, but it's all about your ability to take a step back and decide what perspective you want to look at it through,
yeah,
right? What lens you want to look at it through. So yeah, I love that story, even though I'm so sorry about your account. But I love that story because it's such a good reminder that we can really get caught up in the day-to-day minutia, those things that are challenging, and forget to look at it as to what the opportunity or what we can take away from it.
yeah, absolutely. And it was a reminder of how attached we can be to things,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know. And so um with even thinking about that and thinking about what you were saying with nature, I was talking to one of my best friends earlier today, and I was saying that I was excited about my conversation with you. And she mentioned something, and I tried to find the quote, but I didn't. She believed it came from Elizabeth Gilbert, but we're not sure.
Okay.
But she was talking about how we have, I think she used the term commuter mind or something, where we get so caught up in planning and strategy and having these day-to-day things that we do that we become attached to. But nature in itself doesn't work that way.
Mhm.
That nature every day is there's something different and unique. Like the way animals move throughout the day. Yeah, they may have systems or something, but the something about earth and nature and the way it operates. It's not the same day every day. But
Yeah.
as humans, we are working actually against nature.
Oh, yeah. So true. Yeah. Set your alarm for the same time every day. Go to bed at the same time every day.
Drive the
What's the
same
morning
route.
routine? Yeah. Yeah. That's so
The
true.
same train, you catch
Mhm.
all of these things where we can almost just drive home with our eyes closed and guarantee that we get there.
Right. And then you have a moment of, how did I get here?
Right. And so you taking this journey is a great way to like disrupt all of the things that you know, while also embracing what you do know to support
Yeah.
you. And I don't know, it's just something really intriguing about it.
It was such a great experience, and I should have done a better job documenting throughout. But it was such a powerful time for me,
Mhm.
to obviously have some lessons. I love that perspective to disrupt everything, because I totally did. Never in my life have I lived out of a suitcase for longer than a week, maybe two. So that was interesting. But I did, and every routine was different. I was on every time zone at one point or another. Well, United
Yeah.
States time zones, of course, but yeah, I definitely shook things up, and I've had moments of, okay, what do I really want to be doing? Like, you know, what is my energy like today? How do I want to honor that? Do I, because I think you're right, so easy to get into like, okay, my alarm's set this time every day. And it was nice because I didn't have as much structure to my days. I was able to really embrace what how, do I want to sleep in? Am I going to get up early and go for a run? Maybe go for a walk, maybe
Yeah.
just get a cup of coffee and sit with the dog. I was able to just mix it up, and it was really nice.
Yeah. So what parts of that are you integrating into um this next phase of your journey? Like
Yeah,
what
it's an excellent
is it?
question. And
Yeah.
I'm still figuring it out, because it's been easy to make excuses about, um, let's say, health behaviors, while still living out of a suitcase. You're like, oh, just, go with the flow, figure out what's going to happen. I do really want to get on more of a routine with physical activity. But the rest, I really like not having a plan as much. And I like having a much looser schedule, for lack of a better word. And I'm trying really hard to honor that and make sure that, I don't get so type A buttoned up again. The other thing I'm really trying that I learned in this is that flexibility in the me time is super important. And for
Mhm.
me to be able to serve my clients effectively, I also need that with my work. So I've been trying to carve out Mondays and Fridays for time for professional development, for reading, for creative writing, which is
Yeah.
a huge joy of mine. And just really making sure that I'm able to commit time to those things versus just squeezing it in where I can.
Yeah.
Because with the squeezing it in, it just doesn't happen, or it doesn't happen as well as it could.
Yeah, yeah. I so appreciate that. I have become very intentional about creating spaciousness. And I literally put the word on my calendar. Um, and because again, I'm starting over. I even got a new plant from our mutual friend, Nicole. I got a plant from her and I decided to name her Genesis because I feel like I'm in a new phase of my journey. And what I want to be real intentional about is creating, like building my business this time around in a way that supports the life that I want
Mhm.
versus trying to figure out how to fit life into it. And so,
Yes.
like you, I'm structuring my days differently. So certain days are client days and certain days are days for administrative tasks and, certain days are for content. And even between appointments, when I see things getting booked up, I go in and I place the word spaciousness between them so that
Yes.
I don't have back to back.
Yes. I
Or
love that. I'm going to
Yeah.
steal that because I always write hold. I just keep like a little spot when I keep filling up. I'm like hold on my calendar, but I think spaciousness is so much better. So if you don't mind, I'm going to borrow that.
By all means, yeah. Even as it relates to driving from one place, like or travel time, I place a block there to allow time and making sure that I'm allowing time for traffic delays and whatever may come, because that also keeps me centered and grounded, and it minimizes the stress from trying to get from this place to another.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can think back to many back-to-back days like that,
Yeah.
meeting after meeting after meeting, and you're exhausted afterwards, and you're not able to be as mentally present as
Yeah.
you want to be or should be.
And that's how I feel about client days. Like before my client, I don't want to come off a meeting and then go right into a client call. I want to be fully present so that I can be as available as possible to be able to be of service to my clients. And so separating things and not putting them so close to each other really makes a huge difference.
Totally agree. And it doesn't, that you don't feel rushed. You can be more present and you can take your time in responding to other emails or other things in those moments that allow you to still be productive, but it's not the hurriedness to it.
Yes, yes. And so with when I asked you about what things you were going to carry forward and integrate, I appreciate that you said you're still figuring it out.
I am.
Yeah, I do. I appreciate the truth in that.
Well, I think I'm kind of starting a new life right now. Both, my business has been amazing. I've got coaches that do work for me now, which is just such an honor to have this coach community. So my priorities have shifted significantly in, what type of work I'm doing and how I'm showing up and what I'm doing to serve them in addition to serving my clients. And that's been a whole shift, and that's been wonderful. And then obviously physically I'm in a different space. And adjusting to a new location, adjusting to being really close to my family and all that the pros and cons that brings, and then just trying to also figure out, as I certainly have a network here from living here before, but I got to reconnect with a lot of people and trying to figure out how much I want to put into that, when and how and why, versus just trying to immediately shift into the socializer that I am or can be.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. Because here's the thing, a lot of times we go into entrepreneurship, or at least that's the messaging out there, is so that you can have time freedom. And then you work yourself to pieces and there's no time, which means your freedom is compromised. It's like something's wrong with this setup.
Yeah.
And so how can we, pause and realign and get back to what the intention was? And so I want to take this moment to congratulate you for all of the choices that you've made that have fully supported you and your business. I'm congratulating you for the way that you are positioning your life and your business to be in service of others and of yourself now, right?
Yes.
I saw that you've just been acknowledged as like one of the 10 top coaches to look out for. You're doing such amazing work out there, and I just want to celebrate you.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me. It's as you know, it's a hard journey, hard path to be an entrepreneur, but it's so rewarding. Gives you the freedom and the ability to just show up how you want, right? And it's definitely been a labor of love for sure. And I don't know if I said this already, but last week was the 5-year anniversary for my company, which I was just like, okay, you make 5 years. Hopefully that means you're doing something right. So
that is incredibly exciting. And so congratulations on that as well. And here's the thing, like, look at how you along the way, like, this is just one of many choices that you made to get to that 5-year mark that
Mhm.
that either served you or reminded you, right? Which is still of service of you.
Yeah, and
When
it
you
was
look at that.
been such a good reminder too, and my business coach always tells me, "You're designing your own life."
Yes.
And, not everyone can physically do that or takes advantage of the ability to do that. And by no means am I saying that I haven't figured out, because I don't, but it's been really rewarding and kind of gratifying to be able to say, I
Mhm.
I wanna I wanna have Mondays for time to write, and I wanna be able to serve these types of clients in these ways, or I wanna be able to, I have my friends call me and they're like, "I need some advice." You're like, "Okay, turn
Mhm.
that coach hat," whatever. But it just allows me to be more in tune with my well, what I feel are my gifts and strengths, and to be able to just keep giving back and hopefully make the world a little bit better around me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so I applaud all of the courageous choices you made along the way to get here.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Back at you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I have to do my little
Yes.
my clients look at me because when they have a win, I'm doing this. Yeah. Um,
I love it.
yeah. And so what are the things that you're grateful for in this moment?
I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to start fresh, and by no means am I starting over, right? But I'm starting fresh with the ability to kind of reset a little bit, reconnect, rediscover, all the re's I want to throw out there.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful for all of that, and the chance to be able to make a choice, uh,
Mhm.
make that conscious choice every day on what I want the day to look like or life to look like.
Yeah. And so how do you choose joy? Like what brings you joy and how do you choose it consistently?
There's so many things to laser in on. I'll share two though, but
Okay.
one is a very obvious one as a coach, right? So when I see my clients have big wins, kind of like you were just dancing, I get so much joy out of that. It makes me so happy to know that someone's life they've gotten to where they want to go, or gotten closer to where they want to go. It's just such a powerful thing, and you walk away with that big smile on your face, and just knowing that someone's feeling really good too. The other non-obvious one I'll say is I love my dog so much. Every day she makes me laugh. She's a great cuddler. Obviously I need to have more in my life than just the dog, but she's been such a fantastic travel partner, and there's not a moment that goes by that I don't have joy with her or around her.
Uh, what comes up for me is you've heard the term road dog.
Yeah.
Now she's officially
Literally. She's gotten very good at curling up on the seat and taking a nap. So
yeah, yeah, that's cool. I'm looking forward to my husband wants a dog and we still figuring that out. So we'll see how that works. I may have to reach out to you from time to time for some
well, anytime.
to know what it's like to be a dog mommy. Um,
Anytime. They certainly have their moments for your challenge, but there's it is so rewarding to have them in your lives.
yeah, I don't look forward to the training phase though.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. But it does pass.
Thankfully, that's good to know. That's good to know. And so, how can I'm a talker and I love having conversation about things I'm passionate about with people I admire and respect. Um, but I do want to be respectful of your time. And so, how can people get in touch with you or stay connected to you?
Yeah, my website my company's name is We Inspire We, and I
Mhm.
designed that intentionally to be about one person lifting up other people, that there's a ripple effect tied to what we do. So
Yeah.
as we come together, there's more, around that. So anyways, sorry to go on a tangent there, but my
Yeah.
website is weinspirewe.com. And it's all the info is there. And then of course I'm on most of the socials too, which you can also find under the same name. And I'd love to, if anyone is interested in learning more about the road trip adventure or ways to kind of explore, in your reconnected soul, right? I'm happy to share or answer any questions that anyone might have too.
Well, that would be great because where else? Like, what a great resource you are as an executive coach and leadership coach, and for you to be able to make choices to support you and your business. And there are many women out there who are feeling overwhelmed and burned out, and not sure where or how to even be able to find time and space for themselves. And so, it's you are absolutely a phenomenal resource for that. And
Well,
so I will definitely have a link to your site
thank you.
and your social medias in the show notes so that listeners can get in touch with you and you can continue to inspire and lift up and create
Yeah.
this ripple effect.
Thank you. And I just think it's so important for no matter what our life circumstances are to understand what you want, right? And like to just take those moments to find joy, as you were saying, right? And to know that life is too short to not be in a place of joy.
Yeah, even if, and here's the thing about joy, it's something we do get to choose, right? It's not just going to happen to us. We get to lean in or not because life is both messy and miraculous at the same time. And so there are things that are not so pleasant going on around us at all times, but it's it's how we respond to it and where we direct our energy that's going to make the difference. And so we get to choose it, even if it's just for a moment. That moment can make a huge difference.
Yes.
Lives can be saved in a second, just by pausing for that 1 second.
Yeah. It's so true. And, it's so easy to take things for granted.
Mhm.
Like I did for the road trip. I'm like, yeah, sure. Not realizing how big of an opportunity it was, but it's so easy to to go through the minutia of a day and not have those moments of celebration or reflection, or, tapping into that take a step back for just a second to find that joy.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, for any of the listeners who have been considering, maybe they're not necessarily positioned right now in this moment to take off for 6 or 7 months. Um,
I did still work during the
yeah.
time.
But to be free to choose your day, yes, you were still working. I guess it is to make that distinction. But for someone who's on the fence and feel like they have to have it all figured out, you are a prime example of that, where you don't have to have all the details. It's just a point of making a decision and then stepping into it. Well, that's my 2 cents, and I was supposed to be asking you. So
Well, I love your 2 cents and I agree. Honestly, I think the biggest thing I would say to that or add on to that is just trust the process, right? Like, yes, things are always going to work out. There will be bumps along the road for sure. That's just part of being human and living in this world. But trust the process, right? Like trust that you'll learn along the way, you'll grow along the way, you'll figure things out along the way. And if you're really open to it, you'll tap into some pretty deep stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. You know what? I had looked up a quote. Hold on, let's see which one I wanted to share. That ties into that. And it says, the purpose of life is to live it, to taste it, to experience it to the utmost, and to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experience. And it's Eleanor Roosevelt. I do have an edit though, that without fear, because I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
So my edit would be to reach out eagerly, even with fear.
Yeah.
Of a newer and richer, because we are going to experience fear. That's not going to really go away.
Yeah.
It's whether
I
we
agree.
allow it to paralyze us or not. That makes the difference.
Well, and it's funny, I always say we're human. We are genetically inclined to have a stress reaction, fear, right?
Yeah.
Fight or flight, or freeze now we talk. But it's what you do in those moments, right? It's going to happen. You're going to have that moment of fear, you're frozen, whatever, but how much do you want to lean into that? Do you want that fear to keep you there, or do you want to move to something else? And there's always choice. There's no right or wrong answers in there, but just to acknowledge that you do have choice, and it's not, happening to you or happening around you. It's you have the ability to choose your reaction to it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's the whole thing about this whole self-love journey, is that it's a path, it's a process, but it's also a choice, and we often forget that.
Mhm.
And so when it's something that we're playing with, if we choose it and it doesn't work, guess what? At least we tried. We can say we tried it. We
Yeah.
won't have the regret of never, I'm getting ready to use a double negative, never not trying it, right? And here's the thing, even after trying it, if you go back to your other life, you still don't go back the same.
No, you'll learn something regardless. Yeah, you'll learn that this is the best way for you to do that or not, or somewhere in the middle, but you'll learn. And then you're right, you're never that same person again.
Yeah, you are not that same person. Just like you are back to, a hometown, but you're not the same. And
No.
even if you hadn't been gone 16, was it 16 years?
Yeah.
Even if you hadn't been gone 16 years, even if it was 16 days, you still would have come back a changed woman in some
Yeah.
way, shape, or form.
Yes. So true. And I think it's, when we take the time to think about what we've learned, how we've changed, how we've grown, that's where the real magic happens, right? Because again, we can take, like I was saying earlier, you can take things for granted. They just happen. But if
Yeah.
you acknowledge, if you can kind of see it or take a moment to reflect on it or whatever, to connect with that learning, I don't know. There's something so like, I'm not getting my words right now, but you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
amazing.
And here's the thing, sometimes we're not going to get the words right, and that's okay, because when we're tapping into that feeling space, we're tapping into a different side of the brain.
Mhm.
And words, trying to find the right words can actually take us out of that feeling or experience that we're like that yumminess, that magic you would just kind of connect with. And so it's okay if we don't have the word. Just lean into the feeling and the experience of it, and that's where the magic is, right?
Right. Right. Love it.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much, Tammy.
My
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you. I really enjoyed our time together today. I appreciate that you took the time out of your busy schedule, even in the midst of moving,
Yeah.
to come and share with my tribe and with me. And as always, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. And
Yes, an honor to be here, and thank you. It was rewarding for me to even kind of think this through and talk about what I did learn. It's really powerful. So thank you.
yeah, so I can't wait to see what else comes from this, because I know you're still teasing it out
Yeah.
and all those things. So 6 months from now, I'm sure there'll be even more gems to drop.
Yeah. Well, I'll be sure to share them once I have them.
And to all my listeners, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with us. And remember that your freedom lies in your freedom lies in your decision to choose who you are, what you want, and what you stand for. So will you stand for adventure today? Will you stand for trusting the process and trusting yourself to choose what is best for you? So just sit with that for a minute, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for stopping by.